Good viewer, you are watching Exertus.
This next story has been suppressed by mainstream media. Let's go to Andreas for more.
Everybody, tune in to Recent Tartarians.
Recent Tartarians. Recent Tartarians.
Hello. Welcome to the Exertus. Tune in for another exciting episode of wonder, imagination, and discovery.
Recent Tartarians. Recent
Она
Tartarians.
образует всеобщие закономерности, определяющие законы классической физики для нашего
Sometimes I
мира.
look at the moon and just think, the skin's beautiful.
Baby, when I met you, there was peace unknown.
Recent Tartarians.
Что касается энергии наномира, то она превышает ядерную в немыслимое число раз. 10 в 74 степени.
Recent Tartarians. Recent Tartarians.
That's it. That's it. That's it. With your arms now. That's it. That's it.
Recent Tartarians. Recent Tartarians. Recent Tartarians. Recent Tartarians. Recent Tartarians.
Thank you for watching Exertus. Keep listening. Remember, if you enjoyed the video, please follow and subscribe and share and support. It really helps. Coming up next, Exertus.
By the way, that's gone. If you didn't record that, that's gone forever. It's gone.
Louis Gates, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Neuropa, and
Welcome.
good to have you, Martin. It's been a minute.
Hello, welcome everybody.
So
Great to be back, Andreas.
pretty excited because I know that you've got a bit of a presentation. You got some slides to share with us, which are in German, and so you're going to have to help us with the translation as well. You'll be our ambassador through this voyage, and then also, Raph, you can commentate.
Exactly. We have Austrian translation. We have also, so that's perfect.
The Austrian critique is always it's an interesting perspective. Yes.
So everything you always wondered about flags and never made sense, check out what Martin has to present. When he told it to me the first time, I was like, wow, finally a framework that makes as much sense as I've never heard before. So I guess you'll all enjoy this presentation.
Yeah, this is great.
Perfect. So the story behind it is actually I stumbled upon a video, YouTube video, about 16 minutes long. I actually have it on a slide, but I mean, the first thing I need to figure out is how do I share again? It's always the same. How do I share something?
There's a down there, the button present. I don't know if it says.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, okay, got it.
While you're finding that, I'll just remember that JJ McAuliffe made like a bazillion videos on flags, and they're kind of suspect to an extent. Some of them are all right. Like, I'm glad he at least talked about flags, but he kind of focused and emphasized on the point that, like, American flags, for instance, you might look at like the Colorado flag, doesn't really look like a flag. Or is that right? Where's the one that's like it's Idaho or something like that? Some of these flags have, here's an example. They just have a seal on the flag, right? Because it wasn't common for every state to have a flag, and they ended up having flags eventually, but they all have to have seals. So the seal comes to be kind of a thing that matters in American, like, territorial states, which weren't countries and didn't have sovereignty and everything. You can tell because they don't have a real flag. They got
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's try this again.
Buddha, we are talking about flags, but like, God hates flags. So we're going to learn a lot about that.
Does this work now that I'm presenting?
Yeah, we got something here.
No, that's my screen still.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
It's cool though, right?
like
Like,
something.
No,
it seems legit. I get you. Here, I'll put
the wrong one. Here we go.
So there's that German Europa.
Do I have to do full screen, right? So can you see it now?
If you just push the present button. Have you got that at the bottom? There's down at the here. Can I share?
Yeah.
My
Okay. Present. Now.
Like, do you see on this screen down here where it says present down there?
Yeah, I have that, and I pushed it.
Huh.
And for some reason, wait a minute.
It should open up maybe another window on the screen or something. Maybe you've got two screens and it says
okay, allow.
There you go. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're in business.
But you probably don't want to share your whole screen. Oh no, maybe that's fine because you've got your presentation. Yeah, okay.
Here we go.
Yeah.
You can see it now, perfect. You can see it?
Yes,
all right.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna turn off that 80s Neuropa AI music and let you can take it.
Okay, perfect. So let's just start. So this is actually the video I ran across from this channel LRP. And the gentleman to the right bottom that you saw there, Andreas, I knew you would love that. You love the background, a little bit psychedelic. And
That's
I think
nice.
while he is talking in this video, it is only about 16 minutes. I think there is even a little bit of smoke going up into the air. Anyway, so he actually starts his presentation with this chart. And on the next slide, it is a little bit bigger. I know it might be difficult to read and it is in German, but it is sufficient that I can actually explain to you the systematic.
Okay.
So
I'm seeing some symbols right there too. So
okay, yeah, exactly. So the theory actually is, he says that flags are actually categorized. And there is here to the right-hand side is different categories. So we actually start which is the most important flags that exist, and that is flags that truly have only one color. And what he's talking about is that currently in use is the red flag, the green flag, the white flag. We all know the white flag, right? So when you want to give up, or when you want to how do you say, when you want to be under the UN right, then you use the white flag actually. And then there is more flags that have only one color. That is the yellow flag, the blue flag, and the black flag. But these are currently not in use. Okay, so that's the first thing that we need to know. The top flags are flags that have only one color. And then the next level down.
Can you really quickly explain like those flags that have only one color? I'm seeing like white, green, and red. Is that right? Are those mainly the ones you're talking about?
It's red, green, white, yellow, blue, and black.
Okay, and like who, again, just because they only have one color, who are they for again?
They are. We will get to that. Who has them or who doesn't have them?
Okay, all right.
That is
I'll
just
be patient.
The top flags that you can have. Exactly. Be patient. Then the next thing down here, and let's see, I get my glasses on real quick, then I see that better myself. Here, on the right-hand side, you see the hierarchy of flags. So one-colored flags is hierarchy number 1. Then hierarchy number 2 is so-called corner flags, and that's actually the flag of Nepal. That's the only one that consists out of these 2 triangles. Then you have the third one down, that would be a flag that is a square, a perfect square. And there's, to my knowledge, there's only 2 of them. That is actually Switzerland and the Vatican. They have perfect square flags. And then it becomes interesting. Most of the flags that we know are actually striped. And we have vertical stripes, like, for instance, France that you see here, or Italy, or Belgium. And we have horizontal flags, for instance, Germany, Hungary, Russia at this point, the Netherlands, and so on. So that is the first 5. And then the next one down would be vertical stripes again with some type of a symbol in it. So most of the African states, or Canada, for instance, Canada has vertical stripes, and it has the maple leaf as a symbol in it. Then we get to the next one down, that would be horizontal stripes again with some type of a symbol. And then we have even more hierarchies. So the crazier the flag gets, the lower it is in the hierarchy. So most of the African states, where you have tons of colors and tons of symbols, they are really low, if you want to put it that way. Okay, so this is the basic hierarchy. And then another thing that becomes important is actually the color. And the color is actually down here. So the color black means that you are not self-sufficient. You are not autonomous. You are basically, you are a slave. people take your money. And here we already get there. So German has the black in his flag, and we will actually get to that.
Conscripted and in debt state. Okay.
Exactly. Then we have white. White stands for capitalism, for a king, or for things like oil or iron or things like that, and also the public law. You know, the UN law. That's what white stands.
Oh, like surrender to the UN law.
Exactly. Then we have blue. Blue is for business. Is also for war. Then we have red. Red is probably the easiest one. Red looks like blood. It is something that has to do that is sacred. It stands for blood or something holy. Then we have yellow. Yellow up to this day is even the color of the Liberal Party in Germany, the FDP, the Liberal Party. So they are yellow. And it stands for money, gold, investment. Then we have orange. Orange is for government, if you will, that way. So for anything that is administration, that's the better term. Then we have green. Green is actually for land or for anything that you can harvest, if you will. And finally, violet is religious. So like whatever, Vatican, Dalai Lama, if we think about the color of the priests wear during Easter Mass, for instance, or Good Friday, when it's actually something sad, then that's actually violet. But so now I actually looked into these rules because that really intrigued me. And I was also like, who is actually handling these rules? Who is making sure that the states have the flag that they deserve? And that is actually that layer that you have up here. That is, and here you find symbols like the Red Cross. You have the double eagle that stands for Russia. You have the Jesuit order. You have the Freemasons, for instance, of course. Then you have the House of Nassau, that is actually the king of the Netherlands. You have the Maltese order. You have Switzerland. You have the Vatican. This is actually the Prussian eagle, and you have Nepal. And what they are saying is, so up in here, it's basically decided what flag you have. And up to this point, I was really like, okay, weird. We do not really have one-colored flags. And I started to look a little bit deeper into that. And that's what we get to now, if I can get exactly. So let's start with the red flag. So the red flag actually has been very famous. And the latest state that has it is probably China, and that had it before. It was even called the red flag, was the Soviet Union.
Right.
And now let's test this theory. So the Soviet Union was one of the two superpowers of the world. They had a one-colored flag. And what happened when the Soviet Union got abolished in 1990 when they lost the Cold War? They now got to a tricolor. So this is the Russian flag that we have today. So that means they are now on number 5 in the hierarchy. And that's exactly what happened to them in the beginning. You actually had all these oligarchs coming in. You had all these Western businesses coming in. And basically, they decided to split apart the Soviet Union, which they did. And they started to take the oil and everything that became privatized, and they started to exploit it. Okay. And now, today, China has the red flag. So there was actually a time where there was pretty much in parallel. What is also interesting, and some of you might have seen that, Xi Jinping sometimes is standing in front of a flag that looks exactly like the Soviet flag. The only thing that's missing is the red star.
Yeah. What about the pride flag for old China?
The pride flag is also crazy. We probably get to that later. This is actually not the pride flag. This is a flag that China had at one time. So in
the pride of Manchuria, my friend.
Yeah, exactly. So in 1889, China actually had a yellow flag. Interestingly enough, we get to that later, and there was a dragon on it. And once they got defeated in 1912, I think the latest war they lost was against the Japanese and also against the Russians. Then they actually got the striped flag, and there is every color in there almost that you can imagine. It's almost like the pride flag, and it certainly has the black in there. So
and this was when they were kind of so it's interesting because you had said earlier, like the weaker states have like the busier flags, and the in debt conscripted states have a black stripe, and the states that are lower have many stripes. I mean, then as a state becomes more powerful, it has a solid color if it's like the supreme state.
Exactly.
So this is following the same rules. That's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. So now I think we can agree that China currently has the red flag and is one of the most powerful nations on the world.
China number one.
China number one, exactly. So here is again, this is only China, and even Taiwan actually has the red flag, but it has the blue on it, the blue and white. And interestingly enough, so now you have the colors of America, red, white, and blue, or the colors of Britain. So they are and Taiwan, if you look at them, Taiwan is actually, they have a symbol, so it's pretty low, and they are actually taken for their resources, in this case, electronics.
Right.
That's what we use Taiwan for. Okay, let's continue to test this. The green flag is really interesting. I'm not sure if you were aware of, the green flag actually in our lifetimes was the flag for one state. Do you know which one?
Libya.
Exactly. Libya, once Gaddafi took over the power in 1997, he actually said, now the Libyan flag is a solid green flag. Being the most powerful state in Africa, which he certainly was, because before he was abolished, he took great care of of all his people. If you really look into that, so he was not that dictator that we make him look.
Also very interesting. There is a very small book which is easily available everywhere. It's called The Green Book by Gaddafi himself, at least officially, supposedly. I read it, and there's at least a few interesting concepts inside in there. So definitely, it's just 100 pages, as you can see, worth checking out and maybe understanding more why. Whatever, even if it's just another game on the stage, but still.
Come on, the dude is basically Michael Jackson. Just admit it. It's freaking awesome. All right. And then also just like Libya, Herodotus, Atlantis map, Libya is Africa, according to Herodotus. So key point there for it's. Oh, what color is it? All right. Sorry, keep going.
So now let's check out what happened once Gaddafi was dead and the West started to mingle in Libya. This is today's Libyan flag.
Dang, so that's a thick black bar.
First thing is we now have a black stripe. So they are slaves. We are taking them for everything. We have the Turkish half moon and the star on it. So that means Turkey actually controls Libya.
Wow.
Or let's put it's
ostensibly to this, yeah.
Yeah. And then you have green in it still. So a little bit is left over, and you have red. But basically, Libya is not a sovereign state anymore. So here, definitely, the theory holds true.
Right.
And now we get to a point in that video of that guy. I think that was when one of the smoke screens came up. He actually said, well, currently, Russia has the green flag. And I'm like, I don't see a green flag. They have a tricolor flag, and they are controlled by somebody else. But I was still thinking about that, and I was like, how could I verify that maybe they have the green flag and behind the scenes, but it's just not official yet? And then I was thinking of something all of a sudden. Wagner. Wagner is heavily engaged in Africa. So I actually looked in Wikipedia, and I looked in which countries, that means Russia, the green flag, Russia. And it basically says, this is the states that Wagner is active in, and this is the states where the Russians have either a military presence or they have treaties, trade treaties and things like that. And I simply, there's all these countries that you see here, and I simply looked at the flags of all these countries, and in theory, they have to have green in there in order to be controlled by Russia. And you see here, immediately, Libya is in here also, because they actually have, I think, a military presence there. So with the exception of these three, Egypt, Angola, and the Democratic Republic of Congo, which are all crazy with symbols and blah, 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 they are all slave states too. But all the others actually have green in them.
Right.
So the theory holds true. These countries are controlled by somebody who has the green flag. So behind the scenes, Russia seems to have the green flag. Ultimately, obviously, lots of people actually say that Putin wants to put together the Soviet Union again. So they're striving for the red flag, which is now by China. But behind the scenes, he seems to have the green flag. Pretty intriguing so far. So I kept looking.
You know, also though, right? Like just to say, like Africa has a huge thing with the 3 colors, right? Like the like the Rastafarian movement and everything. Like they talk about like the gold, the blood, the land. You know, that's the red, green, the primary, like red, yellow, green.
Very spiritual idea, or it's a good cover up.
Okay, but it's older than the Wagner Group, is all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So now let's get to the yellow flag. Right now, the chart said nobody has the yellow flag right now. But can you think of somebody who had the yellow flag, Andreas?
Oh man, I don't know. I immediately think of Ukraine, but no, like going back further.
Yes, going back a bit further.
I'm sorry, not off the top of my head. I can't think of it.
Let's go back to
of course, right? Yeah,
the Holy Roman Empire, the Holy Roman Empire of German.
Exactly. German. The German Bohemian Roman Empire, whatever we call it.
Exactly. They actually had it. So here's the flag in nice, and China had it, as we noticed before, and Tartaria had it.
Of course. Right. Yellow.
So here we had the yellow flag with a symbol, but they seem to have been pretty powerful at the time when they were in power. So for the yellow flag, it holds true too. Currently, nobody has it. And that seems to be true also. So this, by the way, this is the coat of arms of the Khan of the Crimea.
Calvin's so upset. Calvin was like screaming. He's like, dude, it's the show. Come on. It's your line. Tartary. Thank you, Calvin. I appreciate that.
Exactly. So that's actually the connection, because I actually the second part of my presentation was about Tartary then, but nothing too new, because I was talking about people that had not heard of it before. But this actually was a great thing to slide into it. So let's look at the blue flag. Nobody has a solid blue flag currently. So I look back in history, and the closest one to having a solid blue flag was actually France before the French Revolution. So this is under the monarchy, the French flag with the Freemason symbols on it. And then, of course, the UK is very blue heavy. And all the colonies, Australia, New Zealand.
All the naval bastion states.
They are blue, exactly. And I also
they're the same. They're the same navy, the navy blue, right? They're that blue, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And I also explained how the Union Jack actually came to pass. So most of you guys know that. Of course, this is actually the English flag. Then you have the Scottish flag and the Wales flag, and you merge all 3 of them, then you get to the Union Jack. So this is what they have and what they still have. And now this red, white, and blue, which the United States have also, that is a very intriguing color. And so let's go back to Egypt and look at where does the color come from. And I know, Andreas, you're totally familiar with that one. So we actually had Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. One had a white crown and the other one had a red crown. And these 2 crowns actually merged under Pharaoh, was it Echnaton, I believe?
Like a superpower ring that you put together.
Exactly, and we actually see that from these old scripts, or also these old engravings. So here you have both of these crowns are now combined. So here's my red and white, and the blue one is extremely interesting, because the blue one actually was the crown that the pharaoh wore when he went to war. That is the war crown of Egypt. So the red, white, and blue is a combination of Upper Egypt, Lower Egypt, and war. And that is truly intriguing. And looking back in history, who caused most wars in the last 200 years?
Anybody wearing blue, all that maritime stuff, and you look at
exactly.
Once you get to the 19th century, everybody, like all the World War Zero, like 12 on, everybody's wearing all blue, all sides. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And Tutankhamun's mask, we even have the stripes and, well, red, white, and blue, stripes, stars, it's all there.
So all right, so like extrapolating from the different meanings of things, again, for those of you who are worried, this is just theory. We're just like we're entertaining his ideas. Let's think about this for a second. If this has got the blue and it's got the red and it's the horizontal stripes and there's so many stripes and there's white involved with it. Did we discuss? You said what white was the flag color for? Did we get to white?
That is the UN law, if you will.
UN law. Okay, so to describe what this flag represents according to this theory.
Okay, this is a little bit crazy because it has lots of stripes and it is very, very busy. What is for sure is that it is with the blue. It is a sea power. It is a power that is very heavy on trade. The red has something holy or sacral to it. It stands for blood, and the white would be the United Nations. The fact that it's actually striped horizontally is not that great, actually. So it would be by the true theory, it would not be very, very high in the hierarchy. However, the UK and the United States are very heavy on the trade thing. So the closest thing that you have these days to the blue flag is actually right there in England and in the United States.
Yeah, like realistically, I think that the real flag is the blue square. Because if you look at a lot of old flags, a lot of flags used to be square flags. And the rectangular flag, that's another thing, is like the emergence of rectangular flags and longer flags, and the difference between those triangle long flags that they have during the knighthoods in the feudal period. So I see it as like the red and white stripes are everything passes through these stripes, like this passing through this land, through this zone, like the UN law, and also the blue representing violence. Because if you look at this flag, it's actually pointed towards the blue. It's pointed towards the pole, right? And so if you were to put this flag on an American military jacket, it might be faced the other way because the blue is facing wherever you're pulling the flag forward. Like you're holding that pole and the red's behind you, the blue is forward. You're bringing the blue forward constantly. So this blue could be on the other side if we were moving east, right? This flag is designed to be moving west in this picture, essentially.
Yeah. True.
So I think it's also saying like the actual governance of this like open land is the maritime corporations. That's kind of this is an open state.
Exactly. Very good interpretation. Yeah. So let's go a little bit further. The orange flag is you actually find the orange flag in Ireland. And one thing I forgot earlier is when you have vertical stripes, this state actually controls, in theory, the states that have the same colors horizontally. So by this theory, Ireland would actually control India. And that's actually not too far-fetched because when you research the Phoenicians and everything, Ireland has a key role in world history.
Right. I think 40% of the world's genetics have Irish DNA in it at this point. And again, the idea that Ireland was part of Britain and that North Ireland was, very important to the Indian settlement period.
One meta question relevant here. So just to take up this example with India and Ireland, just as a purely hypothetical example, of course, but just as you mentioned earlier with Turkey, would that mean that, for example, you mentioned Turkey with Libya, I believe, the new version of Libya, would that mean that the current Turkish administration, including Erdogan and whoever else these level of actors are, that they would have control? Or could it mean that maybe someone, let's say the background industrialists of Turkey or background whatever important families?
I would say the latter, because most politicians that we see are puppets. So probably the latter. But in theory and by the true theory, Turkey would do the administrative steering of Libya. And actually, Turkey being the most powerful Islamic state, that's not too far-fetched if you think about it.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd also just really quickly, like looking at the former flag and the Indian flag right now, like when you see these symbols on a flag, I think that has something to do with the family or the corporations that are becoming important in that state, especially. So you might see like the idea of the Portuguese, super powerful, Spain, super powerful, America, super powerful. What ends up happening is the Spanish leave Spain and become corporations in South America. The Portuguese leave Spain and become corporations in Brazil. The Americans leave the United States and become banana republic corporations. And so the money and power that you're seeing amassed from this huge world trading, slave trading, colonial system dissipates from those states, right? And so Turkey's another example where by the 1920s, you get super powerful Turkish families in other countries, and the Turkish, Ottoman Empire was collapsing.
Exactly. And then the other two flags that we have on here. So this is actually the flag of the King of the Netherlands, the House of Nassau. So they have blue for trade, and they were actually they were at one time extremely powerful alongside with the British. So you had the East Indian tea company, I believe, was British, and there was also a tea company that was in the hands of the Dutch. And this flag here is actually the flag of the Prince of the Netherlands. So here you also have your orange. Over here, this I just put it in here because it looked very nice. That was actually Christo's exhibit next to the Metropolitan Museum in Central Park. And he put all this installation up with all these orange flags. You might remember that. I was actually there. There was a picture that I took, and I was just intrigued by that. But let's move on. Now it becomes even more interesting.
Yeah, really quickly, one more I was thinking of, which is interesting to me, is the Dutch East Indies Company flag, which started out red, white, and blue, or ended up red, white, and blue, but went from like orange to red or vice versa. This is something that happened at some point with the Dutch East Indies Company.
Oh, okay. Super.
Yeah.
It's also something to look into. Yeah. Super. So let's start with the white flag. So we already said Völkerrecht. That's actually the public law, or the law of the UN. So that is, we always are white flag, I'm giving up, but it's actually I'm putting myself under the protection of the highest law that we have between all countries, and that is public law, or how do you call people's law? Völkerrecht. I'm not quite sure what it is in English. Okay, so let's look who has the white flag. And that is quite interesting. You know what this flag is?
Is it there's a Prussian flag, or?
Exactly. That is the old Prussian flag when they were a sovereign state and they were not defeated. And now let's see what happens once they got defeated by Napoleon in 1806. Now they get the two black stripes.
Wow.
From now on, Prussia is a slave state and works for somebody else. And Prussia kept these black stripes. This is actually after the monarchy was gone. So now the eagle even loses the crown, and he loses the insignia for royal power. Also, the R stands for Rex, which is Latin for king. And he even looks afraid, right? He looks shying away from something. You could even be that crazy and say, okay, so he's shying away from something coming from the east, so shying away from Russia. I don't know if that would be the interpretation. However, this is not a very proud eagle at this point. So
Agreed.
these rules certainly hold true for this here. And so let's go into the black flag now. The most common black flag that we know is what is it? The Jolly Jumper?
The Jolly Rouge. The Jolly Rouge.
Jolly Rouge. Yeah, that's it. Exactly. So that's a black flag. Some of the pirates actually used only a black flag without the skull on it. But we also find it on ISIS. They also have a black flag.
The Jolly Rouge used to be red. That's why it's called the Jolly Rouge. Rouge is French for red, and it was the red, the red Jack or whatever. And it was mostly it wasn't really for pirates, because pirates, you wouldn't be like, hey, look at me, I'm a pirate, So what you would do is you'd use someone else's flag. But these were really popular flags for the banking ships, like the Templars and everyone who was bringing money back and forth, like money trucks.
Exactly. So that's the black flags. So Jolly Rouge, even though it's black, and ISIS. What I also found quite intriguing that the 1st Airborne Division, right? They are always first in war. When the US go to war, they also use a black flag. But I'm just putting that out there, not too much interpretation. But now this actually, it becomes really crazy. So one of the countries that was most shaken by wars in the last centuries was certainly Afghanistan. The Brits tried to invade it. The Soviet Union tried to invade it. Lately, the US invaded it together with NATO countries. So let's see what actually happened in Afghanistan. So in 1880 up to 1901, Afghanistan actually was solid black. So they seem to have been quite sovereign, quite up there. Then they start to get symbols in there. And then after, in between the 2 world wars, they now get a tricolor horizontally with a black stripe in it.
So wait, before we get there, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm just blowing my mind though, because we're talking about black flags, and earlier you were saying that black is the conscription of debt, and yet this is the flag that has all of black. So are these like the Melchizedek right that can take taxes from people or something? Is that what they're saying? Like they have the ultimate right of taxation?
There could be something like that. Could be, yeah.
Dang.
It's there could be a good theory, as long as it's solid black. As soon as you have a black stripe, a horizontal black stripe, then you're in slavery.
Right.
And that's what we see right here. For some reason, they seem to pop up once more, and they now get vertical flags, but it has a symbol in them. Then they revert to a flag that they had before. It goes back and forth a little bit. Here, actually, that's also a wild one. There was only very short period of time here in 1921, but here actually they had the same colors that that Germany had, white, black, red, and white. Germany had that. All Egypt has it. Iraq has it. Egypt has it. So that is actually these colors. They had it for a short period of time, but then the green comes back, and the green basically stays with them. And now let's get into a little bit more modern times. Right here. So we still have, we always have the black in. So they continue.
Except for that communist period there, where it goes bright red for a minute. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. That's 1978 to
several hand tradings going on in a generation.
But what becomes interesting now, the Taliban took power in 1996, and they choose for their flag a solid white flag.
Wow. Which is, you know, we think of the color of surrender, but apparently they do not.
Yeah, exactly. And today's flag actually.
Oh wait, is it surrender to Islam? Because like Taliban, are they the UN? Oh.
Exactly.
Do you think of them as UN law, or do you think of them as God's law, or is that the same thing to them?
I think they say it's God's law. It's the highest law for all people, and
surrender to God's law.
We put it under Islam. That's exactly what they did, and that is actually the flag they chose for themselves. Starting the 15th of August 2021, but we still know Afghanistan under this flag. So, but they choose for themselves the white flag with this Quran piece on them. So this is really, really wild. I'm sure you could make a whole presentation only about Afghanistan if you dive into all these individual times and which flags that they had. It is absolutely crazy.
What I love is like some people will pretend they're like, well, you know, these are just like they just needed a flag. They weren't thinking about the flag, and it just blows my mind because like the particular examples we're giving are people that like lose sleep at night over symbolism. They're probably thinking about the flag. You know?
Exactly. Yeah, it is really wild. Okay, so this is one more time in big, the flag of Afghanistan today. Other white flags that we have, Cyprus actually choose a white flag for themselves with the country's outline actually on them, and these two palm.
So
leaves,
with this, if in the sense that in the last example, they put the law of God above the white background, law of God above the UN law. Is this Cyprus saying that they're above the the UN EU law, that they're saying that it's Cyprus first?
I wouldn't say above. I would say we want to be under the protection of the UN law.
Okay.
and their status, being divided between Greece and Turkey, that would kind of underline that.
Yeah, keep us safe. Yeah.
So what I'm saying
keep us
now
in peace.
is totally wrong, but what I'm seeing kind of is the peace laurel, if that even supposed to signify peace, and I'm seeing a gold nugget above. And only reason why I'm saying is because I know Cyprus has a particular position also in the European Union for certain taxation things. All kinds of people like to open businesses there. So it also seems to be like a kind of gateway probably to the East or whatever else.
Well,
There's
it's funny
certainly
that
things
people
in Cyprus you can do that you can't do elsewhere in the European Union.
I think it's weird that we think of the laurel as representing peace necessarily. Like if it's a single, it's a single laurel, a dove holding a single laurel branch, right? Is that right? I think it is, or like the dove is holding, like a piece of the tree. That's for the Noah's Ark and all that. But when you see two laurels like that, like a laurel crown, that's a laurel wreath, that's associated with Apollo, right? And so like the law of Apollo and the sun god, and so it might have more to do with, like, again, if the Islamic flag talks about like Islamic god law, this might be talking about like their own, Apollonian god law.
Exactly. Okay, and then a few more flags that I looked at.
Some of the better ones we're getting to right now. I'm a big fan of Japan.
Japan is also very interesting because Japan has a white flag with a red sun in it, right? So the old Japanese flag, or
for now,
the war flag, is that sun. And down here you see a few other flags that they had. This is actually the flag for their navy today. They call themselves the Sea Defense Forces. Interestingly enough, so you also notice that they are basically forced into being not quite as sovereign, and how would you say, they only have an army to defend themselves. Then this is actually the Japanese emperor, and this is the Japanese. This is the Japanese emperor, and this one here is his whole family. That has this old symbol, the chrysantheme. It's a certain flower that grows in Japan.
But the Japanese emperor flag was basically the original flag of Japan. It used to be a red flag with a gold sun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but now before I show you the next slide, let's talk about the UN law real quick. Are you aware of the UN treaty talks about enemy states from World War II? Do you know which states these are?
Japan, Germany.
Germany, of course, exactly.
Is there any more besides those two?
No, not those two, because Italy switched sides before.
Good for them, right? And good for them. They did the right thing at the last minute, but it counts.
But now let's keep in mind. So we have Japan and we have Germany, right? So we have Japan. The inversion of this is the flag of Germany at the time. And then of course you have a symbol in here that I'm not showing because it's forbidden in my country.
Yeah.
But
weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you actually have an inversion. The two enemy states today in the UN law by Article 53 is Japan and Germany, and they have the same color.
See Ravi right now. He's like, I know what goes in that flag. Horrible, Ravi. Good to see you.
Yeah, but I found this really, really wild. I found this really wild because it kind of trains the people. Yeah, you see red and white, and you see a circle in it, and that's the bad guys.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable, even though we don't have that flag anymore, obviously. But okay.
It's more like also the fact that the two symbols go into each other, kind of like the Egyptian crown that you were showing earlier. That the idea that they kind of interlock like that is fascinating.
Yeah, yeah. So I found this really, really wild. Anyway, and this was basically the main slides I had. I have just a couple more that show the developments of certain flags. So this was the French flag that I showed you before, and what it became through the ages. And now we have the tricolor that it's called today. It actually recently changed the color. The blue became a little bit lighter. There might even be a meaning to that. QAnons actually said, oh yeah, and that's now Prussian blue, and it stands for the fact that they are now controlled by Germany, just like the the clock tower, the Big Ben Tower, was supposed to be painted in Prussian blue, but I personally think that's a little bit. It's very, very far-fetched. But anyways, do I have more? Yeah, we all know this. This is actually Senatus Populusque Romanum. So this was the standard for the Roman Empire at the time.
What do you think, Raph? Do you think that laurel wreath represents peace? What do you think?
Exactly, and the eagle, yeah, and the German,
yeah, peace through strength, or what did they say, or peace through stability, right? After stability is achieved by rooting out any opposing elements.
Peace, tranquility, and presence, I think, is STP.
Yeah, exactly.
I just made a flag really quickly for Germany. It's going to be okay. All right, go back.
Okay, perfect. Some more intriguing flags. This here is Wales. I'm sure you know that. That actually has this Silan or dragon from Tartaria in it, which I found interesting.
Yeah.
But it's facing the other way. This up here is the flag of Sicily. So they almost have like a three-legged, literally legged swastika.
Yeah. Well, it's fiscal. The similar is the flag of the Isle of Man, right?
Exactly. This is the right down here. That's the coat of arms of the Isle of Man, and but the difference is, so here the feet are naked, and here they are armed. Right.
Right. He's there. It's like the boot machine. This thing can spin like it's spigots, and yeah, it's terrifying. The Isle of Man has like a great racetrack. They do like an island race.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, and this is actually the last slide I wanted to show you, going into the coat of arms real quick. And that is also really, really interesting, a couple of them. So this here is the flag of the city of Venice when they were one of the major sea powers. And as you know, Christopher Columbus came out of Venice, and many other seafaring, I think Amerigo Vespucci also, he was also from Venice, if I remember right. Columbus might have been from Genoa, but Genoa is also Italy and one of the powerful harbor cities at the time. And then this one here is really intriguing. I don't know, you probably heard about, there is some people that say maybe we had a satanic inversion between the Palestine or Israel and Germany, and Jesus really happened to be in Germany at the time. Have you ever heard about that? There is something really, really intriguing, because in Germany there truly is a Maqdala, Mary of Maqdala. We have a city that is called Maqdala.
Right, yeah.
And the coat of arms of this city is the only coat of arms in the whole wide world that has hearts in it.
Huh.
And
I just recently wondered about, and thank you for, of course, bringing up exactly what I'm wondering about. And you probably had already mentioned it, and I didn't realize. I was like, where does the heart symbol come from? Everyone uses the emoticon. Everybody knows it. If I do remember correctly, Andreas, help me out. Isn't it also the symbol for Alpha and Omega?
Yeah,
but inverse.
There's another thing also, right? Maqdala isn't I forget the whole story because I'm not German, but isn't it that you guys fought against Ethiopia or something like that, right? Like it's like about the beating of Ethiopia and the capturing of Ethiopia. I feel like that was what I don't remember the hearts thing. It's like the capture, like because you guys fought against. What is the deal? Hold on, let's look it up. Maqdala hearts, Ethiopia. The looted treasure, Maqdala treasures, returned to Ethiopia after 150 years, right? So this came up recently, a couple of years ago, and so there was all of this stuff that they stole. I feel like the hearts has to do with the conquering of this. I don't remember what the symbol is, but I remember it's like associated with that, like either like the hearts of Ethiopia, or I think it had something. Someone told me once it had something to do with like the card game hearts, right? Like what hearts represent. I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. At the very last thing I wanted to show you, just a second, I need to get the presentation back up. Was it here? Present. Oh, okay. That was still me. Okay, present. Yeah, Here we go, and I have to allow it again. This is
okay, yeah. According to this thing I'm reading, I'm trying to find it. So they're saying it had to do with Christian symbolism. I don't know if I necessarily believe it, but the idea that there were Christians in Ethiopia, you can keep opening up your thing, but just the idea that there were some Christians in Ethiopia that they didn't kill, apparently, or something like that. They let the Christians live. So as long as you did what you were told, they just stole your obelisk, you know.
Okay, so for whatever reason, it does not allow me to share anymore. Is there another switch that you have to do?
Try again and make sure you find that button that says like allow share, maybe.
Okay, so share. I want to share.
Present. Yeah, sorry. Present is the share screen bottom.
And then there is the other one, and that allow is now grayed out. It doesn't say I can do it. The browser has blocked your screen. Click on
maybe try reloading the page. Maybe.
Okay.
But actually, it's not a big deal at all because I even posted it earlier. So what I'm going to do, and this is great because in this way everyone can check out Martin's stuff also. So please, Andreas, open up that link because there also the presentation is hosted. So then we have no problem at all. We'll pull it up in a second.
Here we go. Okay. You can keep trying if you want. We'll see who gets there first. Hold on.
Operator. Yeah, German internet is blocking us. So if you scroll down just a little bit, and then it says Präsentation Flaggenkunde. Yes,
exactly.
This should be the same. And here also everyone who wants to see it can download the presentation.
Oh, excellent.
Yep, perfect. And you also have the link in there. Because I highly recommend that video that I actually went after by the guy when he talks about everything that I just talked about. So look a little bit more. We're getting there. One more.
They didn't show us everything. If there's 120 pages in here.
Yeah,
if I see that correctly.
yeah. There's much more. Go up one more. One slide back. Exactly. The top right. Look at the top right. That is the city of Goslar. That's too big. Top right.
This guy here. Oh no, right. You're talking right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right there. That guy there.
Stage
that is
left.
The city of Goslar. So he has the old German color, Holy Roman Empire, right? Yellow and black. But look at his wings. He has Tartarian free energy church windows on his wings.
Wow.
Is that wild or what? I was, oh my God,
Like angels have the, the spinning discs.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And Goslar is a very, very special city because Goslar is in the mountains of Harz. And the pronunciation "heart" is actually what it means in the mountains of Harz. Heart.
Wow.
There is most ley lines of the whole world meet right there. It's unbelievable. Unfortunately, I do not have a picture. Maybe we can pull it up. The ley lines meet in the heart of Europe, in the heart of Germany, and some people even say it's the heart of the world. But ley lines, yeah. And you might have to pull up Harz, Harz. Right there. I probably saw it a little bit lower because there's no, not that one. Go to the overview one more time. That one right in the center. Is that possible?
This one?
No, that's a little bit further south.
This guy?
No, that's too far in the east. I mean, there's tons of ley lines, obviously, but I have to see if I can find it. I have it somewhere.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one exactly.
But anyway, yeah, we find it.
Still, the point that it says Harz is interesting, right? So like, there's a place called Harz, Germany.
Yeah, and Goslar is built like Jerusalem. So some people fight about it, which one is older, Goslar or Jerusalem. It also has 12 city gates for the 12 tribes, exactly like Jerusalem. It's really, really crazy. Yeah, it's right there. And Goslar is on the top left. Go to the Harz map one more time. Yeah, on the top left, there is Goslar right here. Yeah.
Nah. So the Harz then Might have to also do them with the 12 tribes or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Bad Harzburg, yeah. So that's the wild stuff that I got for you today.
Wow. Let me go back a bit to that page. This is pretty good stuff. And then some extra stuff about Tartaria. There's 120 pages here, everybody. So this goes pretty deep. Like we'll have to do a second, or we can go deeper in it. But let me like bask in this for a second. It's really interesting, the idea of the different colored flags having meaning. I mean, because like I've seen so many videos where they try to say like flags don't have meaning, and that there's just a group of people that are like, oh, we better come up with a flag real quick because we have a new country all of a sudden, which it seems kind of crazy because obviously you have to be legit or else they're not going to take you seriously. So obviously you have to know their rules if you want to play their game.
One thing I actually would like to discuss, and I imagine now, or how do you call it? Yeah, imagine that at some point I heard something about this. How do flags actually get registered? So because, how is it that certain people for some reason are able to, send out flags and get recognized by states, others are not? And I believe at one point I had even read that there is like some kind of place in the UK where supposedly all the state flags are officially registered or something like this. But now doing a quick search, I can't find any trace of that anymore.
Have you seen the new pride flag?
Yeah, it's
it's so based. I mean, this is the wildest thing I've ever. It's so violent. Like it's got like because the Masonic apron part was kind of obvious. Like, okay, I see where we're going with this, but it wasn't quite violent yet. Somehow adding this umbrella to it, like Umbrella Corporation, Resident Evil kind of thing with, and then I don't know, just the circle through. Just to make it clear that apron is pointy and violent, and that it will like penetrate and like grab you. I don't know. This is such a brutal militaristic flag. And then guess where there's that black stripe there.
Yep. Exactly.
This is, but I mean, I agree. It's terrifying, but it's awesome, right? Like it's cool. Yeah, but then so also the thing is with the seals we talked about. So like Idaho flag, I think or Colorado flag. What's the one? These flags in America where it's like they're not really flags because they don't really need to have flags and they don't get to use their flags. So they just put their state seal on their flag. And then that's kind of that.
And then they just use some kind of stock background or what?
Yeah, basically.
The way it looks.
Yeah, so it's weird. Like great seals of states are I think this is the actual requirement because America is really like a postal country. Like it's kind of run by the postman kind of thing. I mean, there's a little reductionist, but that's kind of the idea. And so to be able to communicate, you have to send seals. And these seals is very similar like the Great Seal of China. And that's what I find interesting. The United States focuses more on the Great Seal of your state, of your governor, of your authority. And if you have that seal, every legal paperwork, there's a stamp. It presses into the page. You get that stamp. This is a more ancient tradition for how government is run right now. It's not run in the United States so much through like moving flags back and forth. I mean, we do that elsewhere, right? We see that happening in Asia and in the Arab, but in the United States, it's all through bureaucratic business. And so this is the power. The power is in the seals. Creepy.
And they have meaning. Every single one of them has meaning.
Let's see, what's Idaho one or Colorado one's also. The Colorado one. There you go. Look at this one. This one's so it's interesting because oh god, it's such a small picture. There we go. Now, what do you think that the state of Colorado is doing? You know what I mean?
The all-seeing eye. Then you have the fascism.
What does numine mean? Nothing without, I believe. Numine.
Nothing without
work.
Numine.
Here it says numine. Numen. A nodding with the head, a nod command will. Nothing without will, maybe.
Yeah.
The will or power of the gods, divine sway. Okay, nothing without divine providence could even be interpreted as.
Nothing without providence, nothing without God. Yeah. Okay. Nothing without divinity or divine providence. Yeah. And of course you got the mountain is above So there's like mining work going on under the mountain essentially. And yeah, just the fascies. Like it's an interesting
Cheyenne Mountain, no? Is it Colorado, right?
Right, but there's a lot of things in Colorado. There's
I'm just thinking of Stargate.
Right. Like underneath the Denver International Airport, people say there's all kinds of tunnels and things. And if you go right now, the Denver International Airport construction signs, if you get the chance to go to the Denver International Airport, right now they're like working on it. So they have all these pictures that they have around here that are saying like, you know, under construction. Yes, Den's got some secrets. Careful in the Denver International Airport because there's lizard people, grays, reptiles, secret underground tunnels. You should be careful. This is the advertisement campaign for the airport. They're like, let's play into the fact that people think that they could get kidnapped by lizard people in our underground tunnels at our airport. That'll make them want to come. That'll make them want to stop here.
And can you pull up that painting, the crazy painting about war that is in the airport? Just right, paintings Denver Airport, because they are crazy too. I saw a couple of videos around them too.
Yeah, these are wild.
Yeah, right there. They are freaky as hell.
I mean, I definitely love this style. This is like that, like neo-socialist realism kind of painting, you know. That
what is really weird, right there in the center. See, you have this German lederhosen boy hitting something with a hammer.
He's pounding a sword into plowshares, right? Pounding weapons into plowshares, I think is the idea. Like, isn't that kind of he's bending the sword?
There was a motto from Eastern Germany actually, right? Schwerter zu Pflugscharen, so swords to plowshare. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also biblical. He's a good boy, you know. But this is the whole picture. There's a couple more violent ones. I don't know. Here's the dead soldier. See, so they're on the doves sitting on the dead soldier, and they're pounding. The children are pounding the weapons into plowshares, and they have more swords that they're bringing from India and Britain that will be, you know, thrown onto the anvil to be pounded.
I don't know if it's a common pattern, but I'm just looking at the aerial pictures of Denver Airport, and again we have it looks like a propeller. And I mean, I've seen these memes before. I'm not sure if others are similar. Wait, I can send you what I just found at Denver Airport.
It's also a giant tent, which is really crazy. They're like, we're going to spend billions of dollars building this huge and crazy airport, and then we're going to have it under a tent, and we're going to make it look like a smiley face. That's a smiley face, right?
Yeah, and maybe this is a common pattern to construct airports, but I mean, otherwise, like, what? Why? And the Japanese prefectures I pulled up just because we were on the topic of, you know, nice.
I mean, to be fair, this is just a very practical design.
Okay. Yeah, well, maybe it is. I don't know. I didn't construct any airports yet.
I ain't no architect. Okay.
And so the Japanese ones I just brought up because I think they look so nice. You know, everyone who loves Japan, they will appreciate the design, and it's just obviously superior in design and slickness, I think, at least to
this would make a great like golf or cricket or like, you know, some sort of a lacrosse sports team flag. I think, you know, it just feels good. Yeah, these are great.
And then just to understand, Martin, the theory that is being presented would basically only apply to state level flags, let's say?
Well, no, because these prefectures are also using Yakuza to run them. These are like, I think these symbols are the symbols of the house.
All right, so that, and then here the coloration then depends on the internal state-based hierarchy, probably, or Japan, what would be the assumption?
Japan is like all over the world, right? So like all these Yakuza, like the Hokkaido is like in LA, Peru, you know.
I mean, it's true, and the cities have partnerships with each other, you know, across the globe.
Yeah, I imagine like, I don't know, I'd like to look it up, but like maybe like which ones are associated with the Brazilians, because the Brazilians have like 2 million Japanese that live in Brazil. And are associated, not all of them, obviously, but like a lot of them with, you know, corporate Yakuza, like up and up, you know, decent people. But there is like Japanese business colonial corporations that are all over the world that are associated with different places in Indonesia, you know, San Francisco. Like, yeah, they're not just like some small little island. That'd be crazy.
So basically, just to we understand, the assumption would be that also on this prefecture level or whatever, or district level, they would be coded, or there would be some meaning, at least when they were created.
Dude, this is a corporation. Yeah, this is a tech company.
I mean, so the German state flags actually. So the old German colors are red and white, and you find that, for instance, Niedersachsen, which is a white horse on a red shield, or you find it in Franconia, where I am at. This is the so-called Fränkische Rechen. With the teeth, the Franco, yeah, exactly. This is Niedersachsen, and then then put in Franconia oder Franken. Yeah, and yeah, exactly. That's so you have the red and white in lots of areas of Germany. North Rhine-Westphalia also has the same horse, the red horse in it. North Rhine-Westphalia, and it also has green for the Rhineland. Yeah, right there. See, to the right, you have the same red horse, because there is also Saxons living in North Rhine-Westphalia as in Lower Saxony, and then you have the green part is for the Rhine, for River Rhine, and whatever the flower stands for. I think the flower is also for, and you see in the green part you actually see a river, so that's River Rhine, and I forgot what the flower stands for, but it also has some meaning.
Wow. Well, let's look back at the flower. It doesn't say. It doesn't say on the website. Let's see. Oh, coat of arms, maybe coat of arms. Rose. Westphalian, the white, the Lippe.
Okay, Lippe is also where an earl was in power, and so they basically put together the. That's it right there, right on the map, I think.
The 16 stamens symbolize the 16 cities and municipalities of the district. The coat of arms was granted in 1973.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, the idea that these don't have symbolic meaning, it's crazy. I just don't get it. Like, how people can go, I don't know, we just threw a rose on a flag. You know, we like the we like the rose. Yellow's a nice color.
What I really like about the idea is this. I mean, kind of obvious permeability, let's say, between the corporate and state sovereign idea, because basically once you get to the very top level of the corporation, well, then you get to be a sovereign state basically, and then you put your logo or your colors or whatever on the flag. Yeah, it's just a change in status.
If you're doing good. Oh, look at this one. This one's illegal in Germany. If you squint. Man. Yeah, I don't know. It is interesting, though, looking at the Japanese flags, because some of these are like, okay, I don't know where technology corporation logos start and like Japanese prefecture symbols begin. You know, they seem like they're
because they also at least appear as if they're all vectorized and everything. Something
yeah,
like
dude,
in the
like,
West you would never have, you know, like in the US, they would
Kagoshima.
never do something like this.
This is wild. I don't even know what I'm seeing right now. This looks like a Windows startup logo. This is crazy. Kagoshima prefecture. What do you guys do there? Let's just find out. Kagoshima, Southwestern, Tivoli Island. Looks pretty cool. Whoa. That's even more based. Kagoshima. But there's
and they have like a Gnostic cross on it.
Yeah. That's why they had to come up with that chill flag. They were like, if anyone knew what we were really like, they're not going to come visit. So we better just make it seem like we're Silicon Valley. Oh, yeah. Burns after B-29 raids. Okay. So, yeah. That sucks. So they didn't even have like a atomic blast. They had like just like air raids from B-29s, and then they had to like completely rebuild. So that's the other thing about Japan that's crazy. It's just like the complete decimation of the entire infrastructure, but also in a country that like is used to rebuilding its infrastructure every generation. So it just makes it more modernized. That's crazy. Yeah. Kagoshima. Tokyo is kind of, was this like a tree or a hub? It's kind of cool.
Symbol mark flag. Mm-hmm.
Some of these, dude.
Wild.
Wow. Yeah, I gotta wonder because like I feel like the Japanese know the rules. What about these black and white Japanese flags? The Karafuto Agency. Well, that's already weird. It's not just a regular prefecture. It's an agency known as South SOQUEL, part of the Empire of Japan until 1943, and later became a prefecture. Territory of the Empire of Japan after the Russo-Japanese War in 1905. Just something to this one. We're gonna have to look at. I want to look into that. Like all these countries and all these states that have really unique, like the black and white flag. This is crazy. This one looks like the Yamaha logo or something like
For
that.
any new ager ever heard about sacred geometry, I mean, and it's a Yamaha logo basically, and the double. Also, it's a Star of David, basically.
I see a triple Canadian flag, kind of. There's a lot of cool things going on. This is a pretty nice one. But yeah, I mean, Japan's crazy to think about that and the idea that they had to kind of end their naval fleets so they could only have yakuza, they could only have corporations after. SOQUEL was an island through his Japanese cartographer and explorer Mamiya Rinzo established that SOQUEL was an island through his discovery of what is now named Mamina Strait, the Strait of Tartary. In 1809, Japan unilaterally proclaimed sovereignty over the whole island in 1845.
The Strait of Tartary.
The Strait of Tartary. Like what? Look up anything random.
Now, far be it for me to like make jumps and connections and things like that, but that's a pretty fun sync that we just found, right? That's not too bad. It's not too bad.
Good one.
I mean, I'm just saying, if we're like using the data, the ideas from this this presentation, and Martin, he's looking at things. He's open-minded. Here's a guy. He's looking at another guy's talk. The other guy, he says like he's puffing in a cloud of smoke. So like we're taking everything with grains of salt. But the fact that we can look at something and then after that follow that track down and find ourselves right back at the Strait of Tartary is pretty cool, right? Like that's that's kind of nice.
I'm pretty sure I mentioned before, with the whole Tokugawa shogunate. I mean, I still haven't figured out what it's supposed to be, but you also have this one guy at least called Ieyasu Tokugawa, at least in official history, which sounds just like Jesus. And the Tokugawa symbol itself, I think, is interesting also. And I believe they were the official administration just up to all these Republican revolutions that happened everywhere from 1850 to 1870, which appeared to be the most recent reset. I brought this up before.
They sure dress like Jesuits, right? Like the Jesus, the Yasuits,
Well, Jesuits, or it's a burqa again. I mean, look at the guy; he's almost completely covered in black. What to say?
Well, yeah, but like again with that name, like you get the idea that the Jesuits and the Yasu, like it's the same word. Realistically, there's something about that. That culture seems really connected. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, is there anything else you want to bring up? What do you want to bring up next?
Well, I don't want to water down the show today. So, Martin, is there anything else you want to talk about? Anything at all that's interesting to you, or anything you haven't?
Yeah, this has already been like amazing. By the way, I really appreciate this one. This is a good one.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know. That was what I brought today, but
well, let me check through comments too, because I think a lot of people had some thoughts about that.
Okay,
we had one or two particular comments that were questions. I'm checking it right now, and yes, we are saying
Washington D.C. is not it's not a state. It is a district, but it is also a as a district, it's more than a district. The flag of Washington D.C. is creepy, right? Kind of like it, but it has yeah, it's a lot more ancient seeming, in its own way. It's pretty cool. I don't know. It's weird though. I find that one to be kind of a weird flag.
So this would be one question, for example.
Read it. Sorry. Why or what does it mean when they are flown backwards? Okay. I'll explain that again. Also, the faded blue American flag, just a modern look or more. Okay. So I agree that the look of the lighter blue has to do with, a change of military strategy, and that the United States Navy is no longer, I mean, there's an Atlanticist power. It's not necessarily the United States. It's like a bigger thing. It's something that's been created the United States and is larger. In terms of the backwards flag, we talked about it earlier. Let me show an example. American military backwards flag. It's not really backwards. So what it is it's forwards. The blue is forwards. So he's moving forwards. This is a better example because I didn't show it earlier. When you see a flag like that, The blue area is the direction it's flying forwards. The pole is forwards. See, he's moving the flag forwards right now. His chest forwards. That's why it's not backwards. In fact, if you've ever seen the flag the other way, you saw the flag backwards. So this is the way you're supposed to fly the flag, essentially. Like wherever you're moving, like if you're at home and you're trying to defend home, that's why we see it like the other direction here, because it's already here. But if you're elsewhere, you're extending the flag, you're pushing the flag forward. It's capture the flag. You know what I mean? That's like you capture the territory.
So on his other shoulder, it should be the way we've used to it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because it would be as long as he's facing forward, as long as the blue is facing forward. So in the other direction, it would be flipped, right? Yeah. I can go look American flag military.
And we have Ravi asked in particular. I'm not sure if we can say anything about this about Schleswig-Holstein. I'm not sure because you brought up Franken, but I don't think you brought up Schleswig-Holstein.
Yeah, Schleswig-Holstein is also has meaning, yeah, because there is actually the 3 British lions are threatening it. Pull up Schleswig-Holstein.
I'm just trying to write it down. Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh, Ravi, good job. All right.
Yeah.
There we go. Schleswig-Holstein. Okay.
So that's actually a classical. So you have the sea power, red, white, and blue colors in it, and then you have the 2 British lions, because Britain is actually west of Schleswig-Holstein, so it's south of Denmark, right? So the British lion is threatening it, and you literally have a big bang. You have war in this country, and there was war around that. That is, Prussia and Austria fought against Denmark. England became involved and things like that. So they had a rough time for a long time. That's actually the symbolism of that one.
I like it.
Just going through the comments. So this is also maybe an interesting question. I'm not sure if it's true. Why is each U.S. state represented by a pentagram?
Oh, you mean like the stars on the flag? Like 50
oh,
states.
right. Yeah, I mean, at least that I guess that's one way to ask about it. Yeah,
I think it's because, let me show you a pentacle elements. So a state is, on one hand, the monopoly of violence, but also it is the authority of manifestation. So a state has the resources of air, water, fire, earth, spirit, and it has the capacity to refine and exploit its resources, right? Including its people. It can refine its people into doctors, lawyers, and refined slaves. So the state is the capacity for a corporation or a person to manifest destiny within.
I want to know the percentage of particular society flag designers and submitting individuals and Senate legislature. Yeah, I mean, how do you come up with this? That's great. Then we have
yeah, you just
yeah, exactly.
Like, you just don't have anyone tell you you're not allowed to go to those clubs.
We have 2-3 more very good questions. So one, I think you mentioned this to me, Martin, I think, or maybe you mentioned on the presentation already, the white Antarctic flag.
We didn't have Antarctica on there.
Okay, because that's also, I mean, obviously a particular flag. I think it's white partially, no? Just white with only the and that's another particularity. Maybe you mentioned this. We only have Cyprus, I think Antarctica, and 1 or 2 others where you actually see the country itself, like the shape of the country on the flag.
Okay, the Antarctica flag is freaking nuts, right? Like, you've seen the Antarctica flag. It's this guy here, and
it's like Ethereum or what?
So yeah, I get that vibe. It's very like cryptocurrency futurism. I think you're not off, but you have to imagine, like, who is in Antarctica, and the idea that the Germans were supposed to give it up, so the Argentina side and Russian side and the United States side, like they're all kind of, there's a joint control over it. And but yeah, look at this idea of sort of a diamond in the center, but the diamond is as above so below, sort of a yin yang thing, and it's not quite black. This is a darker than navy blue, but it's a blue still, right?
And that's actually, that's like a pyramid, right? If you look at that 3D, it would be a pyramid.
Yeah.
And there is a
one above and one below.
Exactly. Wow.
Yeah, that one's pretty good, actually. You got to give it credit. But then, yeah, I don't remember what the Arctic flag is. The Arctic flag. What's the Arctic flag look like?
I see there it is. The shape of Antarctica was right there in white on a blue background.
Yeah. This is I don't know if that's the official. I think they want to go harder though. They're trying to do the diamond flag. But the North Pole is different, right? Don't they have there's several different ideas for it, but it doesn't have a flag because it's not really a land or something like that. They have a Greenland flag. This is the Greenland flag, which is kind of similar, right? That's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Same idea, yeah.
These are interesting because like they're very forward thinking, very gestalt. They remind me of like Prince Bernhard, World Wildlife Foundation, the panda logo. You know, it's like these weird like gestalt logos that are not quite.
It's interesting that you're using the German word Gestalt. That's actually the German word for shape. You use that in America? Gestalt?
I think so. I don't know if every American does, but it's like there's certain German words which you use, you know, like kitsch, I think is another.
Schadenfreude.
Some Americans, I would say like 10%. Like, hey, can someone do like a poll really quickly? I want to do that. That'll be the last thing I do. I want to find out like how many Americans actually unironically know and use the word Schadenfreude. If you do, just say you do. Okay. Like, let us know. Because like, I don't think it's as common as you think it is. Like it should be used more, but like words like gestalt are common.
Zeitgeist.
That's a good one. Yeah. I don't know.
Kindergarten.
Yeah, it's true. Kindergarten. Yeah, for the most part though, gestalt is probably just used for like if you're into symbolism or if you did graphic design or something like that. That's probably where they bring up the idea more of like how you see symbols. John says, I know that word and I'll take it. That's pretty good. Hold on, let's do a quick list of Raf just pulled up 33 words we use in English.
It has to be 33 and what is this?
Thanks a lot. Iceberg.
Could also be 19. Yeah.
These are pretty good. Actually, you know what? This is worth it. Iceberg, kindergarten, kitsch, Gesundheit, hamster, zigzag, glitz, gummy bear, noodle,
Gesundheit you use? Really?
Oh, gosh. All my life. I always say Gesundheit.
Yeah, you.
No, I mean, okay. Again, now everybody in the audience, it's your chance. Tell us how many times you said gummy bear or Gesundheit. I'm sure you've done both.
Or which of these words you ever used more than once for a particular case in your life?
I always say Gesundheit.
You can just type them in. Sauerkraut. Are you saying, I want my sauerkraut today, Mom?
I think also like if you were educated by atheist socialists in the United States, like there's a higher chance that you learned Yiddish words like Gesundheit because it's good health instead of saying God bless. So there are circumstances where they pushed Gesundheit more. Beer garden, y'all been to there. Sauerkraut, schnapps, strudel, pretzel. Every one of you been to a delicatessen and had a pretzel. Rottweiler, Schnauzer, Dachshund, German Shepherd. Maybe. I think Dachshund. We don't say that. Rottweiler, we hear that.
Gesamtkunstwerk, is that people are using that? That would be nice.
Which one?
Gesamtkunstwerk.
No.
But it's a nice word.
Where do you see it? Is it on here somewhere?
No. Someone in comment.
What's it mean?
Gesamtkunstwerk is something that is.
Schnitzel is
Gesamtkunstwerk. Gesamt is whole. Kunstwerk is art piece. So something that is an art unto itself, like an individual's life, could be a Gesamtkunstwerk. So like he's an artist and everything he's doing is art. Yeah.
All right, that's a perfect word. Yeah.
Jugendstil. Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
We don't say that anymore, Ravi. Calm down. No, I'm just kidding. Blitzkrieg, hopefully not again. And then Bauhaus. Yeah, Bauhaus comes up.
Uhr? What is Uhr supposed to mean? 31?
I don't know. Let's see. Uhr. Where is it? 31. So the German prefix is not
all right.
Widely used in English. It is common in academic, like proto-original, Urash, Urbild, Urenkel. I don't really. Is it? Or your Ur example of something like that? All right, we're going to start using Ur more. That's probably a good one.
Yeah, Opa would be your grandfather or things like that. And then what's also interesting, actually, I'm just thinking of that. All the parts of the world, Asia, Africa, America, Antarctica, they all start with an A. And there is only one that does not start with an A, and that's Europe. And if you spell out Europe, that's actually Mario Pras said that at one time. It is Uropa, the grandfather of all the rest. That is also wild. If you're speaking German, watch Mario Pras. I'm telling you, he's absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. He's talking about how they actually mixed up the languages. So basically, what's in the Bible, with what is it? When they mixed up the languages, what is this called? Babylon, the Tower of the Tower of Babel.
Language confusion.
Because there is certain rules that, and you can, and he actually does that on paper. He transfers the German word Frühstück into breakfast, and he does that by using 10 rules, which Johann Wolfgang from Goethe actually used in the witches Hexen einmal eins in Goethe's Faust. There was a lot of information now. I'm really sorry, but it's really, that's Mario Pras. He is absolutely cool, and somewhere in there, he's transferring breakfast from Frühstück. But I'm not quite sure.
Maybe actually scroll down on, there's a playlist on the right hand side. Maybe there's should have more. Okay, I'm looking up for something else. Okay, 1 second.
These are cool because you can get like subtitles if you go to settings here and you do German auto-generated, like auto translate to your own language. Then all of a sudden you can watch these German videos. I mean, the translation right now on Google is pretty good. The YouTube AI translation is impressive. So you can get through a lot of the data now. This is an epic time to share information across different cultures and see what people are witnessing in other places. And here we go.
So I think his stuff actually got nuked from YouTube, at least partially, or something happened. So here you have a presentation. This is also, I guess, one of the ones I knew from 2017. So at least on Odyssey, you can watch out for it, and hopefully more people will retranslate it or something. It's not even starting.
It won't let me start it. He's been banned. No, I don't know. It's probably gonna load.
It does load. It just takes it takes a moment. But anyways, especially anyone who knows German, definitely, how would I say, mandatory information, to inspire and get some ideas about what, how these connections could be occurring.
Epic. Well, all right. Do you want to do anything? Should I just show them where to get your content, Raf? Like, Martin, thank you very much. We should definitely do a part 2, because I know I saw that that was like 30 slides and there's 120 more. So we should let people sit on this, because there actually is a lot here. But let's do it again. Let's do a second part.
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay. Let me pull up Act Like You Know 26 page. Make sure everyone goes
so again, I did this, and I posted in chat the site I put up for Martin on my website, just so anyone who wants to know his stuff. On this page, you can find everything. There's also a link to Martin's Telegram channel. It's mostly in German, but still sometimes it's pictures, so everyone can join, and check it out.
What's this? AI will translate everything directly into English if you just push the link. You can read anything you want, guys. There's no reason to avoid it. Look at that. It's all in English all of a sudden. Just it's there. And then we go down here.
So this is some of Martin's works.
Wow. Fantastic.
Yeah. So instantly ready for you to read it. And if you can't read English and you want this in like Quechua or like Guarani or like Tibetan, like you can do that with Google too. So just read and weep, but also watch these videos, check out the subtitles if you can't understand them. And the flag presentation is right here. It says presentation flag and fund or something like that. And then you click on PDF.
Science.
Yeah, it's pretty great. So make sure you guys check this out, because there's also a lot more if you didn't know. If you're actually interested in this and you want to like continue on, you can get past the first 30 pages. It gets even deeper into Tartaria, which is stuff that we will cover next time. Cool. And yeah, like and subscribe to Act Like You Know 26.
Like and subscribe to Exertus. Thank you very much, Andreas, and thank you, Martin.
Super. Thank you, guys. Lots of fun again.